everyone, Charlotte here from Enriching Environments for Top Tip Tuesday on this Tuesday night here in Dubai. Thank you so much for joining me. I know Instagram is giving you a few more moments to join, so I'll let them do that. And we can talk about our topic this evening, which was prompted from a post, well actually a story I did last week about Harry lifting this huge log, and I had lots of responses to the story, including one about what's the ideal sort of weight and size for young children to be heaving and pushing around, and so I put it onto a post, and then I had lots of feedback from that as well. So, hence why we discussed this live. We are discussing this live this evening. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining. And I think we can begin. Actually, it's saying, hang on, there's more people joining. Okay. So, hello. So let's begin. Why do Piccolini love heaving and dragging and pushing and pulling heavy items, carrying them? Why do they need to heave them? Why do they need to drag them? Why are they so focused on whole body movements, doing things that seem impossible for a child of their size? That seem too big or too cumbersome or too much. So a really good example is they expend a huge amount of effort climbing in an armchair, only to climb back out again and then to do it again. And there's two things going on there. One is the repetition, which they need in order to build neural pathways. And another thing that's going on is that they need this whole body experience. They need to involve their whole body in what they are doing. They need to exert themselves, and this can sound like a really strange concept to us when we think of, just a baby, just a couple of months before they were a baby, and now as a toddler they want to do all of this really seemingly heavy lifting work, things that are too much for them. This is what it feels like they want to do. And the reason for this is once they're walking confidently and coinciding with around 15 months, just before or after 15 months, this is when there's a shift from focusing on the hand and mastering the movements of the hand and the movements of their body. There's a shift from 15 months onwards to mastering the environment around them. So when they're a baby, you can see with a newborn, then they get to the stage where they're gazing at their hands, and then they get to the stage around 5 months where they're doing hand-to-hand transfer, and they are exploring and they're mouthing, and they are their brain doubles in size in the first year of life, and that's to accommodate this long journey that there is to walking. So everything is focused on gross movement, whole body movement, in order to perfect and master the movements of the hands and whole body movements in the first year of life. And then beyond that, after 15 months, they are moving away from mastering their body and their hands, because they've done that already. The quote is, the hands are now free to work. Once they're walking steadily, their hands are free to work. So and these are unconscious needs, of course. The child isn't deciding one day, it's literally in a drive where they need to master their environment. And this is where it comes from, this desire to do whole movement things that are really, really difficult. So going up and down the stairs will be a huge fascination and very scary for us. Climbing in and out of armchairs, climbing up the highest things, doing things that that seem impossible for such a small child and seem really dangerous. But this is not them testing boundaries or anything. This is their inner drive to master their environment. And Dr. Montessori calls it the child's need for self-formation. So unconsciously, the child is growing, is growing in self-formation. They are literally constructing a human being. What was I going to say? Oh, sorry, it's gone out of my head. I thought it was on my notes, but it's not. So yes, they are literally constructing the human being. And the way that we can facilitate this, the way that we can support this, is having heavy things around the house. So this is even more apparent in this age, where a lot of you probably know that plastic is not a satisfying material for a young child. It's not satisfying because there's no weight to it. It's not satisfying because it smells and doesn't taste very nice. And then, of course, there's the environmental aspect of buying plastic as well. So what we want to give is natural materials, and wood is a great natural material because it smells nice, it tastes nice if you put it in the mouth, it's got so much sensory exploration in it, and it has a weight to it. I know IKEA, loads of places, but do really lovely small bamboo bowls, but there's a nice weight to them. And young children love to throw plastic. They really do, because it's very, very light. It's like, think of us in our Tupperware cupboard. Our Tupperware cupboard, we usually just sort of throw everything in because it's Tupperware, and we don't look at it very often. And it's the same for a child. If they have lots and lots of plastic, none of it's satisfying. It's not pleasing to them in any way. Something that is heavier for them is a lot more satisfying. So we can start with really simple, basic things. So if you wanted to think of something heavy that they can move around the house, a small stool, like a low stool, heavy stool, not a light one, a heavy stool, that is really, really ideal because it's short, it's small enough for them to pick up, but it's going to provide a great challenge for them. If you have a garden, something like a wooden wheelbarrow, you can have one made, or you can get one if you're here in Dubai at the garden centre, a wooden wheelbarrow, almost like an old-fashioned cart type one. Really, really heavy, one that seems too heavy because all of that exertion that they need, all of that effort that goes into it is immensely satisfying for them. One client who I worked with a couple of years ago, she had found a wheelbarrow, but she didn't find a wooden one, she found a metal one, but got little small sandbags with it. And then her son would load in however many sandbags he wanted, and then move it to one side of the garden, and then move it back again, or take the sandbags out, put them back in again, and then move it again. And it's that repetition is very important, as I said at the beginning, but it's that heaviness, that mastering something in the environment. It doesn't matter that obviously to us we think of that there's no point to that, there's absolutely no point to that, but young children are process driven, not outcome driven. And so this is what's really, really important for us to know, is providing these opportunities. If you don't have a garden or a space where they can heave a wheelbarrow, what else can you do? I'm sure if you have a pushchair, if you have a stroller, then undoubtedly your toddler would have tried, or is trying, to push the stroller, even though it's way too big for them, way too heavy for them. They can't see where they're going, so it bumps into everything. But it's their need. It really is their need and their drive to push in heavy things. So in the home, have you got a handbag that they can have, or any type of bag that you can put some heavy things in that they will that they can heave around? For my daughter, it was really that, it was the heavy handbag. For my son, it was more picking up stools, and we have the 2-tier IKEA steps, the white ones, and he really loved picking those up and moving them around. And that actually is a natural activity in the environment, because we had one set of steps that we would use to wash our hands at the kitchen sink, then you'd need to move it to another part of the counter in order for him to climb up, or her to climb up and do snack preparation or food preparation. So that's all part of the cycle. That is, so he was having that satisfaction of lifting something heavy, and difficult for him when he was doing his snap preparation as well. So this is sort of natural things we can incorporate into the environment. And I had these high stools, and then I just cut them down low, so they were short enough for the children to move around. And actually, then we use them at a low table. So what else can we think of? Yes, you've got a heavy bag or heavy stool or set of steps, and there isn't any magic formula. It needs to be a challenge. It doesn't matter if it's a bit too heavy for them at the moment, because they will do what they can. They will literally do what they can to heave it. When they can manage it, they will manage it. It's not like we need to help them. They will make a plan. If they're getting stuck and frustrated, you could suggest, why don't you pull it instead, or why don't you drag it instead? But the fact that it's heavy is really, really important, and they will some children make a lot of effort sounds. There's a lot of exertion going on, and you can feel that in the energy, and you can feel that it's really important, this sense of exertion for them. So yeah, all of that is going on sort of in their brain unconsciously. All of this. Hi, Dan. So it's us to think a little bit outside the box. How can I facilitate this? If I can see that my child is definitely someone who wants to carry things around, what can I provide for them that's really, really heavy to carry around? And you'll start seeing it as soon as they're walking. What you want to do is give it to them once they're walking steadily, or offer it. Once they're walking steadily, they might find their own thing around the house anyway. They make a plan. Children are very good at making a plan. But if you're going to buy something intentionally for that purpose, then when they're walking steadily is more important than anything else. You don't need to worry necessarily about how heavy it is. It's just that it's small enough so they can just carry it. So it's sort of child size-ish, but it's got to be heavy for them, so it has that satisfying feeling for them. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions while I take a sip of water? I don't think so, and there's always a delay, so something might come through. So our focus always is in the Piccolini stage, in the toddler stage, is to opportunities for them to have real work. This starts occurring from once they're walking, and obviously a child can walk anytime from between 12 and 18 months, but it's really 15 to 18 months where you will see this intense desire to work and this satisfaction in work, and it's an incredible shift that happens, and you will notice that they almost don't go through a stage of not looking at their toys at all. The toys hold no interest. They just want to do the work alongside us. Of course, as a baby, they've seen us doing all the cleaning and pushing and sweeping and hoovering and all of those things, and now that they can move, now they can fully move, now they can do all these things for themselves. They want to be in our world, and they want to be doing them with us. So this is the big shift that happens. So don't be surprised if once your child is walking, they don't even look at their toys anymore. And of course, in that scenario, we still prepare the shelves as we did before. We still provide a simple, ordered, accessible environment, and they'll come back if they want to. But in the meantime, we observe what they're doing. What they are doing tells us what they need now and what they need next. So if hi Nada, if you're you notice your Piccolini is fascinated with sweeping or taking baby wipes and wiping everywhere and cleaning everything, then set up a station with some cloths. I use old flannels and a spray bottle of water and a window wiper, so that they can do that just freely whenever they want to. So they don't have to ask, they don't have to use a baby wipe. Just have it on a shelf, really, really simply, so that they can do the work that is of great importance to them. And that's really what the world of Piccolinis is. It's really simple, but can seem really complicated. They just want to be in our world. They just want to be doing the things they're doing. They want to prepare food, and they want to do the hoovering, and they want to do the dusting, and they want to feed the cat, and they want to do all of those things. And our role is just to provide an environment that allows them to do that. And if we can keep to the 3 principles of simple, ordered, and accessible, then our child shows us, actually, it's really, really amazing. Our child shows us what they need next. And then when you get to the stage of about 18 months, roughly, you start to see a huge shift in autonomy. And one of the families I'm working with at the moment, we literally in the past week, and he's 18 months, this boy, there's a massive shift in his level of autonomy and his capability. Just because now he's ready. We've laid the groundwork, and now he's ready for that autonomy. So it's really incredible to see, and it's really enriching to see. Does any of the new people who have joined, do you have any questions about heavy lifting, or should I recap what we've said already? The heavy lifting, what it comes from is, Dr. Montessori called it the needs of self-formation. So this is an intense need in the child from after they're walking confidently. So roughly between 15 and 18 months, they shift from mastery of the hands and of their body, which is what it's like being a baby, essentially, unconsciously, and they move towards trying to master their environment. So they're going to move and try to pick up the heaviest chair, the heaviest bag. When the Gibson's box arrives, they're going to be heaving it and dragging it and trying to carry it. And the way we can facilitate that, indoors, we could get a heavy low stool, or a low set of steps, or a box, or a handbag that you're not using. You can put heavy things in. And then if you do have an outdoor space, you can provide a wheelbarrow, the wooden wheelbarrow, sort of like an old-fashioned cart. They're really, really useful. Or if you can't find a wooden one, you can get a metal wheelbarrow and then put small bags of sand or soil that then the child can adjust to their own needs of how much weight they'd like in there. And the main thing, like everything with our babies or our children or our preschoolers, babies or Piccolini or preschoolers, is to give them the space and time to repeat. It makes no sense that they will be climbing in and out of the armchair and exerting all that effort all the time. It makes no sense that they're carrying a stool from one side of the room to another, or that they're pushing a heavy wheelbarrow up and down, up and down. That makes no sense to our adult brain, because we are outcome driven, but a young child is process driven. So it's so important that we honor this as their work. We provide as many opportunities as is humanly possible for them to repeat what they need to repeat. They will always guide us. They will show us what they need. Does anyone have any questions whilst we're here? So we can provide what we have in the environment, and we can, once actually we've provided something for this heavy lifting, then we can observe and see how important it is to them, and see how they may be really heavy breathing and sweating and panting when all of this is happening. And we see the satisfaction afterwards. What's the word? We see the satisfaction afterwards when we see them exerting themselves, and how satisfying and fulfilling it is. And this is what Dr. Montessori observed, and that's why she called it self-formation, because it literally is constructing the child. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. This evening we've had a lot of people come in. And unless anyone has any questions, I will just round up by saying, please do join me for my online workshops. You can see the schedule at enrichingenvironments.com if you go to my shop, and you can see what's there. Yoga House, film collaboration with Yoga House, the spring film series, starts this Friday, the 26th of February, which is really, really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Our first film is called Childhood, and this is a fly-on-the-wall documentary of a kindergarten with children from ages 1 to 7, set in a rural Norwegian setting in a forest. And this is a really beautiful, quiet documentary about the tenderness and respect we show to children. and the obvious beauty and the obvious richness of being in the wildness of nature. So that's if you want to book for that community event, you can do so at yogahouse.ae is their handle on Instagram. Pleasure. Thank you so much for joining. And there's 4 films in the series, so we do one at the end of February, end of March, end of April, and end of May. You can see full details of those films on my feed and at yogahouse.ae as well, both on Instagram. Please DM me with any subjects you'd like me to cover, any topics you'd like me to cover for Top Tip Tuesday, and for anything else you might need. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye bye.